Okay, I'm gonna continue on this sequence that I'm in this zone, I guess, doing a lot of good video content to me, anyways. So we'll continue and talk about creating an outline. I personally don't write with an outline ever because I don't. My energy for writing comes from inspiration or some kind of experience that propels me to write. So outlines they're really for structure, and if you have the content, structure works itself out. That in abstractly doesn't make any sense, but let me explain to you. One is that when you talk about a story, or when you write a story, there's a natural progression to it. This happened and then this happened and this happened. Basically, there's only one story that's ever been told, and that's called the hero's journey. Um, and you can look it up, hero's journey. And I read about that somewhere. Basically, you're at some place, and then there's some challenges, and then you go look for your treasure, and more challenges, more challenges. You go look for a treasure, and then you get that treasure, and then you come back, and you're a different person. That's the one story that's ever been told in the history of humankind, and the only kind of story that exists. And you can get really philosophical with this, but anyways, um, the Alchemist is a good representation of the hero's journey. Anyways, so when you write like that, you're telling a linear progression. You're talking about a linear progression, and why do you need to structure what happens next? You know what happens next. The only complicated thing is to write it down, right? So an outline, in which situation would an outline be useful? When you're not clear how the order goes, or when you're writing an argument essay. Now, when do argument essays come into play? North Carolina had their fifth prompt was you're a part of a committee in charge of creating the 28th Amendment for the United States. What would it be and why? That's a very interesting prompt, and it was actually pretty fun to work with somebody writing it. And I suggested to him to write this particular prompt because it's unique, and as an international student, most people probably won't address it. And even if they do, and even if you do, it's such a unique perspective, which makes it by default unique. Anyways, I discovered that it wasn't a story; it was an argument about why this particular thing, limiting the amount of time for the Republican getting the nominee, the campaign time should be limited, and he talks about why. And you in an argument you can become really really choppy. So you give reason one, two, three. They don't have to be related in order to debate, right? A debate is back and forth, and you could jump in with like random, not random, but like not seamless um, pieces of evidence. So ideally it would flow, but it doesn't always. So maybe you want an outline. So you want some kind of development where sometimes there isn't a clear form of development. You want to move up higher and higher. You want to move forward in time. You want to change. This is life and personal statements a lot about growth and progress. So those two things, moving forward or even moving backwards, um, suffering a setback, failure, experiencing failure, how what changed because of those things. So an outline would be very helpful in those situations. And here's a template. So main idea, supporting detail. This is the most basic outline you could ever come up with. And so yeah, gather information, determine the theme, determine the structure, and write the outline. It's really that simple. And I'll talk about theme in a second.